that, but then I'm not getting into all those technical details. But I'm just mentioning this particular aspect, that the aspect of Tivra Bhakti, can actually rectify any faults that is there. So, in fact, Dhruva Maharaj, he actually performed Karma Mishra Bhakti, wherein he wanted a material goal, to be achieved, as a result of his devotional service. That is, meditation on the Supreme Lord is a devotional service that he was performing. And for that, in exchange, he wanted something material, in return. He wanted a big kingdom. So that is a deviation in the path of pure devotional service. It is not a pure devotional service to start with, but then his intensity and his obedience to a pure devotee and accepting a process, that is in the nature of a pure devotional service. So, and the determination and intensity actually purified his consciousness, over a period of time, right? So it's a little deviation, but then it got fixed by his practice. So the great sage Narada has come to Dhruva under the direction of the Supreme. Before that, this is the process of accepting a disciple. So, when a spiritual master, he accepts a disciple, so he tries to, ward him off. Generally in the initiation interviews, we also do this thing. We also try to see that, convince the devotee that if, without initiation also, it is okay, right? Anyway, you're chanting and it's working also. And really, the devotee is interested. Really, he wants it. So then actually, he is pushed forward, right? So the great sage Narada has come to Dhruva under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead just to initiate him. Yet he is testing Dhruva's determination to execute the process, right? So first, a person is told, no, you don't need to do all these things, and things like that. But still, if the person is determined, he may come back and ask, no, I want to do it. So then, he is encouraged. So it is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. But for one who is not determined and sincere, this process is very difficult. Right? Chike. Munaya padavim yasya nisangenor jambibhi janmabhi na vidurmagayantopi tivra yoga samadhina. Narad Muni continued, after trying this process for many, many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continually in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. So this is not a discouragement. So as Krishna mentions, that bahunam janmanam ante jnanam mam prapadyate, right? So if somebody has any other ulterior motive, so then the process becomes so elongated, so difficult to attain. So sometimes people say that bhakti yoga is so difficult, karma yoga is better, so there we can get some easy goals and things like that and all, or easily we can attain our goals and things like that. But if we know the rules and regulations of Karma Yoga, and even if we deviate a little bit, what kind of reactions it will come, it's very, very difficult. A person who's not executing the Karma Yoga properly, he will have to see the hell, right? And in the Karma Yoga means, a simple thing in the Karma Yoga is that before a person goes to take food, he has to announce that I'm going to take my meal. Anybody hungry over here, please come. I will feed you and then only I'll have prasadam. So like that. And then many, many rituals, many, many rules and regulations. Everything is so much more than Bhakti Yoga. And in Kali Yuga, we don't have the social setup, to actually follow the Karma Yoga system. So for Karma Yoga, I cannot just simply decide, okay, I will try to follow Karma Yoga. I have to have a community of people, who are following the Karma Yoga. And it is a lot of give and take is there and a lot of assistance that is needed from each other. So that is when I'll be able to execute the Karma Yoga properly. If any deviation, so then it becomes a punishable thing, right? So, but then in Bhakti Yoga, what happens is that a devotee surrenders to Krishna. I will try my best to render service to you, and I don't want anything material. I don't want anything material. I don't want liberation. I only want to please you. and no, please forgive me if I'm doing any things like little bit here and there. So then Krishna says, okay, fine, like, no, you have come to the right goal of trying to please me. Little bit here and there, anything happens, like, no, it is pardoned. No, it is not taken so seriously, right? So Bhakti Yoga is the most easiest process. And in one lifetime, we can very well achieve the perfection of Bhakti Yoga. But in other processes, it takes, generally takes many, many lifetimes, right? So even in Bhakti Yoga, it generally takes many lifetimes. But if a person is very sincere, he can attain things in one lifetime, But then in other processes, it generally takes many lifetimes. Okay. So, Ato Nivarthatam Esha Nirbandhastava Nishphalaha Yatishyati Bhavan Kale Shreyasam Samupasthithe. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function. Purport. Generally, a thoroughly trained person takes to spiritual perfection at the end of his life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, life is divided into 4 stages. In the beginning, one becomes a brahmachari, a student who studies Vedic knowledge under the authoritative guidance of a spiritual master. He then becomes a householder and executes household duties according to the Vedic process. Okay, so just now we were discussing about this point of how Karma Yoga is very difficult to practice. So one of the aspects of Karma Yoga is the students in the beginning of their life should be sent as brahmacharis. So they should, there is no video games available. There is no, YouTube or any other things. They have to just go to the ashram of the spiritual master, and they have to study the Vedic literatures very nicely and be under very, very strict vigilance and strict practice of austerities. So all these things he has to go through. So then, Karma Yoga means Varnashrama system. So Varnashrama means all this Varna and Ashrama has to be followed. So that is when it is called as Karma Yoga. Otherwise, no, it is just a eyewash that I am also doing Karma Yoga or something like that. So what other people, like many other societies, they call themselves that we are practicing Karma Yoga, but it is not possible to practice Karma Yoga in this Kali Yuga. No, because there is such setup is not available. Right from the childhood, everybody is spoiled, by the way of exposure to the material things. So in a Vedic system or in the in the process of Karma Yoga, so this cannot be allowed at all. So now here Narad Muni, what he is telling to persuade or what he is telling to evade Dhruva from doing his penances is he is explaining about the general path of Karma Yoga. But then after seeing his determination, he will say, okay, fine, I will give you a better process. You perform Bhakti Yoga and you will achieve your goal. So previously what he's telling is the difficulties in practicing Karma Yoga. So that is what he's going to tell now. So generally he's telling it takes a lot. First you have to be trained as a brahmachari, then grahastha, then vanaprastha. And when you take sannyas, then you are eligible for practicing these mystic performances. Now you cannot do it. That's what he's trying to tell. So, but then when he was determined, so he says, okay, fine. Generally it is very difficult, but then I'll give you Bhakti Yoga. Process of Bhakti Yoga, you can do it immediately, right? So anyone, anytime, can do this thing immediately. So, okay. Then the householder becomes a vanaprastha, and gradually when he is mature, he renounces household life and vanaprastha life also and takes to sannyas, completely devoting himself to devotional service. So what is this word mature? So what qualifies a person as a mature person or not? So the maturity is how much he is able to control his senses and mind. That is the maturity. And what does it mean, controlling the senses and mind? Naturally, if the senses are eager to engage in the service of the Lord, so they are considered to be controlled. And naturally, the mind is always absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. So then it is considered to be mature, right? So this is the way. And there are so many different people actually think about the Lord. Like Hiranyakashipu also thought, that is not the mature thought. And many other sentimental people also, they think about the Lord, this way and that way. So that is also not considered to be mature. So we have to think about the Lord as it is directed by the Guru Parampara, like following in the footsteps of the liberated souls. In that way, if we are able to think about the Lord, then we are called as mature. And in that maturity, one can take sannyas. Because if that is happening, then naturally the corollary of that, he will be completely detached from material things. Right? So when he is able to think of the Lord nicely, when the senses are naturally attracted to engage in the service of the Lord, and that means like if I'm able to see anything beautiful or anything nice, immediately my thought process is that I am seeing that how it is to be used in service of Krishna, then it is maturity. If I'm seeing something nice and then I'm thinking, oh, this can be used for my service, I can enjoy this particular thing, then I should consider myself as immature, right? So when the maturity comes, that means when I'm able to be attracted to Krishna naturally, so then detachment also would have come as a byproduct. So then such a person is eligible to take sannyas, right? So then here is mentioning, generally people think that childhood is meant for enjoying life by engaging oneself in sports and play. Youth is meant for enjoying the company. When one becomes old at the time of death, then he may try to execute devotional service or a mystic yoga process. But this conclusion is not for devotees who are actually serious. The great sage Narada is instructing Dhruva Maharaj just to test him. Actually, the direct order is that from any point of life, one should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of spiritual master to test the disciple to see how serious he desires to execute devotional service. Then he may be initiated. Right? It's a nice principle he's mentioning, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. So now here we see that the eagerness to practice Krishna consciousness is something that we have to cultivate, right? So if we are not very eager, so then we will not attain the goal. We will not attain the desired, result of practicing Krishna consciousness, right? So it is very, very essential to be, very, very serious and determined in our practice of Krishna consciousness, and that will, help. That will kind of, attract, attention of the Lord, and then we can actually practice Krishna consciousness nicely. Okay. Yasya yadhaiva vihitam satena sukha dukkhayoho atmanam torchayan dehi tamasa param gacchati. One should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the Supreme Will. A person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily. Okay, so this is an instruction that is given by Narad Muni, which is on the platform of mode of goodness. And here, just a minute, Kartikeya Prabhu, Haribol. Okay, so maybe he has gone to offer lamp. I have not offered lamp today, so I was just thinking how to do that. Okay. So now one should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, so which is offered by the Supreme Will. So it's a very, very important principle. So this keeping oneself balanced, it is very, very desired by everybody. And whether happiness comes or distress comes, one should not be overwhelmed by that. So this is a sign of mode of goodness. A person who is affected by the modes of passion and ignorance, he will not be able to be equal in the conditions of happiness and distress. That is not possible. So a person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily. So modes of passion and ignorance, they bind to the material things very, very strongly. And mode of goodness, it helps in the path of liberation. So that is why one should actually practice, try to practice mode of goodness. So how we practice mode of goodness? by associating with the mode of goodness. No, just like if we want to go back to the spiritual world, or if we want to become very serious devotees, so this one is, we cannot do it by ourselves. So we have to take association of pure devotees of the Lord, and we have to make heartfelt, fervent prayers to Krishna that I want to become a very sincere devotee of yours. No, please help me. Right? So that is the way we can actually become. And materially speaking, if we want to get a particular mode, if we want to be in mode of goodness, so then what we are supposed to do? Karanam guna sangosya. So we need to associate with that particular mode. No, that is when we will become purified. So materially speaking, all of us are encouraged to come to the platform of mode of goodness. And how will we be able to come to mode of goodness? So by waking up early in the morning, by keeping ourselves clean, by trying to speak the truth, all the times, and doing these kind of principles which are there in the mode of goodness. So slowly we are associating with mode of goodness, and associating with people in mode of goodness, associating with the time in the mode of goodness, associating with work in mode of goodness, associating with food in mode of goodness. So as Bhagavad Gita mentions all these things in detail. So we should try to associate with mode of goodness, again and again. So because that is, materially speaking, that is a good platform. But mode of goodness is no way a qualification to become Krishna conscious, or no way a qualification to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, but then it is the best among the worst in the material condition. So the result of mode of goodness, if we are able to get mode of goodness, so then we will be able to keep ourselves satisfied in any condition of life, either distress or happiness, right? And even if we attain perfection in Krishna consciousness, so then also we will be able to be equal in both distress and happiness, right? So we should strive both the things. So in the initial stages of bhakti, we should strive to become very nice in devotional service. We should strive to advance in Krishna consciousness, and at the same time, we should strive to, or we should try to put ourselves in the mode of goodness whenever we do some material activity, right? Even while taking prasadam. So if we can take prasadam which is not too spicy, and which is in the mode of goodness, that is very good. So I was calling you. I didn't offer lamp. So, okay. So this is a resultant of this one, both perfection in Krishna consciousness, or being situated in mode of goodness, right? So materially speaking, we should try to situate ourselves in mode of goodness, and spiritually speaking, we should try to advance in Krishna consciousness. Try to get taste in the process of chanting, try to get taste in the process of studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the nothing that we are supposed to do. So then we'll be satisfied in any condition of life. So a person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily. Okay, purport. Material existence consists of pious and impious fruitive activities. As long as one is engaged in any kind of activity other than devotional service, it will result in the happiness and distress of this material world. When we enjoy life in so-called material happiness, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our pious activities. So we see that any activity apart from devotional service produces karma, produces some results of happiness and distress. The karma actually brings about happiness and distress in different ways. And then why the devotional service doesn't create karma? So we would have explained this to many people, because everything belongs to Krishna and everything is rightfully used in his service. So then it is called devotional service, and it doesn't create any karma. So, but if Krishna's property is used in our service, so then if it is done in a way that is mentioned in the scriptures, so then it is called punya, and it will give rise to material happiness. And if it is done without regard to the scriptures, then it is called the sinful activity, and that will give us distress in the material world, material distress. So material happiness and material distress come in this way. So, but if we use everything, all that is there, even including our body and mind and intelligence in the service of the Lord nicely, so then we will not produce any karma, right? So we will not have like any karma that is produced. So now we see that when we enjoy life in so-called material happiness, it is to be understood we are diminishing the resultant actions of our pious activities, right? So if we have done some pious activity, it's like if you're getting a lot of Lakshmi, that means in the past we have done a lot of charity, right? So, but more we get the Lakshmi, so the good work of giving charity, so the result is we are enjoying the result, and after some time the result will get extinguished. That whatever work we have done, so kata, it has become tallied. So we have done some activity and we have got the result of that activity, right? So if we enjoy in this life, if we are getting a lot of enjoyment in this life, that means we are exhausting our pious credits. And when we are put into suffering, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our impious activities, right? So this is a very, very good impetus for us to be detached from the fruits of our action. So when we are going through some very nice enjoying phase of our life, we should we should thank the Lord that, okay, you are exhausting my pious credits so that I can go back to Godhead. And when we are going through a really difficult and suffering patch of our life, we should thank the Lord that all the bad karma that I have done, it is getting exhausted. And in both these cases, we should only pray for that somehow or other, if I can become deeply attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the only thing I want. Please, Krishna, you just give me your attraction to you, attraction to your holy name, attraction to your glories, attraction to your pastimes. This is what I want. So even in the Damodar Ashtakam, we see that Satyavrata Muni is actually praying, I don't want any other benediction. I just simply want to keep relishing this pastime of yours as Bala Gopal, right? So he's not even telling that I want to, what is that? You have unlimited pastimes. So, Eki pastime, again and again, how many times I will hear the same pastime? I want to relish your pastime, at least, let me have some variety. No, it is not like that. So even one small thing in Krishna consciousness is thoroughly sufficient to satisfy us completely, right? So Satyavrata Muni is telling I don't even want different pastimes. I just know this one pastime is sufficient. I can just be simply drowned in this pastime. So that is the thing that we always try to ask from the Lord. Be it happiness, okay, let my pious credits be exhausted. Be it the suffering, let my impious credits be exhausted. Let me, but in exchange, I'm going through all these things and not continuously executing your devotional service. My only one thing that I want is, please give me attraction to your lotus feet. Please give me attraction to the holy names. So that is the only thing that I want. I don't want anything else, right? So when we are able to pray like this, that's a very, very good situation, right? So, okay. Instead of being attached to the circumstantial happiness and distress resulting from pious and impious activities, if we want to get out of the clutches of the nescience, then whatever position we are put in by the will of the Lord, we should accept it. Right? Thus, if we simply surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we shall get out of the clutches of material existence. Right? So, if happiness comes, if we react to it, and if we do some more material activity, so then our bondage becomes extended. And if distress comes, and we just to mitigate that, if we do some more material activity, we simply extend our stay in the material world. So, an intelligent devotee, his job, he will always be executing devotional service. At any cost, he will never give up devotional service. And then, patiently, enjoying or suffering the material, results, results of material activities, that actually comes. So this is very nicely summarized in the shloka, Tattenukam pasu samikshamanam, munjana eva atmakritam vipakam, right? So in this, very nicely it is mentioned that a sincere devotee, he constantly tolerates the difficulties or the happiness that is coming out of his out of the material activities that he has performed in the past. Now he's tolerating that, and currently he's determined no more to perform any material activity. I will only perform devotional activity. And then he's having the eagerness. I will definitely attain the Supreme Lord. No, at any cost, I will definitely attain the Supreme Lord. And he's patient. No, he's not demanding. No, I have to attain the Supreme Lord. Even if it means that I have to wait for a long time, no problem. But still, I will have the hope against the hope. Definitely, I will attain the shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. No, he will have this kind of a hope, and he will continuously execute devotional service, and he will, tolerate all the good and bad that actually comes, as a part of, the material, as a part of the karma, that is coming, from the past. Okay. So actually, I want to go by 8:30. So this is a very nice sloka, Gunadikang Mudam Lipset. So we often quote this sloka, but still, like, I would like to pause here and ask for any questions, if anybody has, so that we can have some question answer session, and then we can wind up. Okay. One, after a long time, heard the lecture, feel happy. Okay. No. Okay. So any questions?
Hariksetra Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one small, thought that came. It's a small question only, Prabhuji, based on today's lecture. So, like in Dhruva's situation, Narad Muni was trying to test him, and to see how serious the Dhruva was, right, for his decision. So, Prabhu, when it comes to like our own life, what should be our parameter to decide, Prabhu? To meditate, like whether it is an instruction or it is Guru's way of testing it, because Dhruva continued with whatever the Bhakti devotional service that he wanted to do, even if Narada was telling him not to go for that. So my question again is, Prabhu, like, how should we determine whether it is an instruction or it is a Guru's way of testing it? Hare Krishna.
See, one thing that we can actually take the example of Bali Maharaj in this connection. So his spiritual master told that don't surrender to Vishnu. That was quite easy, this one, to understand. Okay, so the whole goal is to surrender to Krishna. And that is the whole purpose of accepting a spiritual master, as accepting a devotional process. So, but if that only is rejected, so then how is it possible? So that question actually came to his mind. And then, so we need to have, that is why before accepting the spiritual master, we need to know what is the prayojana, right? So what is the scriptures actually talk about Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. So now Sambandha means to understand what is what of this world, who is Krishna, who am I, who is this material energy, and what is its relationship, and how we are all related, and with a final conclusion of I am part and parcel of Krishna, and I am meant to render service to Krishna. So this is the conclusion of Sambandha Gyan, right? So then after that, so I'm meant to render service to Krishna. The process is Abhidaya, how to render service to Krishna. And then the Prayojana is that developing attraction towards the lotus feet of the Lord. No utpade didiratim shrameyeva hi kevalam. So Srimad Bhagavatam talks about this particular principle. So if the rati, or if the attraction towards the Supreme Lord is not developing, so then it is not very, not a proper process, or we are not executing the process properly. So we need to develop our individual attraction towards the goal, right? And then when the spiritual master is trying to deviate us from the goal, so we will definitely know, this is a testing process that is going on. So, but if I'm not having any goal, and if I'm not attached to the goal, which the scriptures actually talk about, the spiritual master will facilitate us to attain the goal that is described to us by the previous acharyas, by our in the parampara, our goal is there, very, very clear. And then by the scriptures it is defined. The spiritual master will not advise us otherwise, right? So he will never do something against the scriptures. So in that way, we can actually understand that spiritual master is trying to guide me, towards this goal only. And this goal is very much nicely revealed in the scriptures and very much nicely revealed by the previous acharyas. And I have to develop the attraction towards this goal. And if the spiritual master is deviating me from that point, so either the spiritual master is corrupt or he is testing me, right? So these are the two options that comes. So, but if I'm not at all knowing the basics of Krishna consciousness, so then I will not be able to judge whether it is an instruction or or a testing. And for an insincere, not a very serious practitioner, whatever Narad Muni told is that can be a very nice instruction, actually. To practice more of goodness and then wait for some time and then go for a deeper this one. So Narad Muni is also testing what kind of a disciple he is. If he is a disciple who is of some lower caliber, so then this instruction is well and good. So this can be taken as an instruction. But if the disciple is advanced and he has got deeper attraction to the holy name of the Lord, or deeper attraction to, or deeper determination to attain the Lord and things like that. Here in the case of Dhruva, he's having sincere determination. And seeing the determination, Narad Muni says, okay, fine, this boy can be offered a better lesson. What lessons I have offered. So that is not sufficient. He should be offered a better lesson. So this is not just like for the purpose of testing, he's not deviating. He's actually advising him a lower principle. The Varnashrama system is actually advising him. And when he sees his determination, he will advise something higher principle, right? So the testing is not something like to deviate. It could also become a valid instruction if the disciple turns out to be a disciple who is of a less caliber, right? Does that help, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Thanks.
Somebody is there. I think she wants to talk.
No, I'm in between a class first.
Okay.
Okay, so there is another question. Where Prahlad Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj were initiated, is it not possible to practice bhakti without initiating? Okay, the scriptures generally talk about that there is a shloka in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, so where it mentions that chanting of the holy name doesn't require any purascharya, doesn't require any initiation. It is very, very powerful and it can actually purify a soul by itself. So, but for that shloka, Srila Prabhupada actually gives pages and pages of purport, saying how initiation is mandatory and it is very much essential. So why it is essential? So, without taking shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord, it takes, still one may, perfect his devotional service only out of costless mercy of the Supreme Lord, but that is considered to be very rare. In general case, it is seen to be very, very rare. So Krishna generally recommends that you please take shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord and please accept initiation. So then you will be able to progress in the path of Krishna consciousness very nicely, right? So by the power and mercy of a devotee of the Lord in our life, not just one devotee of the Lord. We always take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. So it is we can learn from so many different devotees. We can actually see and how nicely, sincerely they are practicing. And then we can take inspiration from them. And devotees who are really solidly situated in their practice of Krishna consciousness, we can take instructions from them and we can follow our own spiritual master. So in this various ways, we can actually take advantage of this very powerful medium of association of devotees, right? So, and one of the powerful activity that we do is taking initiation. Even our acharyas like Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he has also very solidly established this aspect that initiation is very essential in the practice of Krishna consciousness. He includes that in different angles in the first 5 items or within the first 10 items of 64 angas of bhakti, right? So in that way, we can understand that initiation is a very important thing. So in conclusion, without initiation, according to the scriptures, it is possible to attain perfection, but it is quite rare and not generally seen. But then the general practice that is advised for all the devotees is that we should take initiation, right? So that's the answer for it. Hope that answers. Okay. You mentioned that thinking of the Lord in some emotional way, not in line with that of liberated souls, is not mature. However, Krishna is also Bhavagrahi Janardana. How to understand this? Yeah, so Bhavagrahi Janardana. So that is why in the definition of Uttama Bhakti, we see that like Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anupulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So Anushilanam means, Anu means to follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So Krishna sees that, I have given the process of Krishna consciousness, and if the process of Krishna consciousness is to follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So if I am able to do that, so then Krishna will appreciate, And if I am simply exhibiting some emotional way, which is not following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, so then Krishna will say, okay, fine, you have done something, so I will reciprocate for that. But then it's not going to, we will not get a very, very amazing response, from Krishna. So definitely that bhakti also will earn something, but then it will not even have the capacity to cross us through anartha nivritti, right? So if we have to reach the higher stages of bhakti, so then we need to have everything properly followed. Otherwise it's not going to help. And in the manifest pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so many times devotees used to bring very nicely composed poems and literatures and things like that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to get fed up, and he used to say to Swarup Damodar Goswami that whoever comes, brings anything, any literature, please go through them and then please see if the emotions or if the bhava is tallying with the pure devotional service, is tallying with the with a proper mix of emotions and things like that. So which is born out of spiritual practice. If that is there, please bring that literature to me. I will relish that. Otherwise, simply, this is only disturbing my mind. So when we are in some emotional way, we are approaching the Supreme Lord, which is not, wherein these emotions are not born out of our mature practice of Krishna consciousness. So then it is simply disturbing to the Lord, right? So, but still the Lord, we have thought about the Lord in some way or other. We will get some benefit, but that benefit will not be very powerful, to take us to higher stages of devotional service. That will be a very meager benefit, that we will get. So the emotions, regarding this, we had our Brahmachari Sangha, so we were actually discussing this particular point. His Holiness Shivram Maharaj, he actually mentions in one of his books that the emotions that we have generally in the beginning stages of bhakti, they are born out of our previous association with the modes of nature, either because of mode of goodness or passion or ignorance. So we develop some kind of emotion, some kind of a profile within the modes of nature, right? So this emotions is not to be mistaken for the spiritual emotions, the bhava. Bhava grahi is something that bhava is something that comes much later, after the nishta, ashakti, ruchi, then bhava and prema, that comes. So that bhava, Krishna actually, he takes it. That Krishna actually likes it. So, but then the emotions, that we have in the initial stages of bhakti, it is all, sometimes a devotee is quite rude. Sometimes a devotee is quite well behaved. So it is all result of his past, association with the modes of nature. His real qualities or real emotions will come after a mature practice of Krishna consciousness. When a person reaches the stages of bhava, that time he will actually get the real emotions, which are born out of his spiritual practice and which are permanent, which is not born out of the material modes of nature, right? So then there is one nice thing that was mentioned in the book, Maharaj tells that, but the sadhaka is expected to practice certain emotions. What are those emotions? Humility and gratitude. This is something very, very essential. That even if it is material, it's okay, but still he has to practice this quality of humility and gratitude. Why he has to practice this? because without this practice, even this we can wait, by our practice of Krishna consciousness, we may we can get the humility and gratitude, true humility and gratitude in the stage of bhava. So then why are we expected to practice that in the initial stages of bhakti? Because there is a danger of offending devotees if we don't have humility and gratitude. That is why these qualities, even though it is material, it is advised for a sadhaka also to practice. Right? So those bhavas or those emotions are appreciated. How condemned I am, how nice the other devotees are, and I'm grateful to every single opportunity of Krishna consciousness that I am getting in the practice of Krishna consciousness. I am able to worship the Lord. I am able to chant the names of Krishna. I am able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. I am able to associate with devotees. I am getting an opportunity to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So I am there in a nice association of devotees. All these things is something that we can actually think and offer thanks to Krishna, right? And so many devotees who had helped us in Krishna consciousness, we can actually remember them and thank. So I try to do this experiment. So whenever my chanting is going really very bad, so I try to remember all the devotees who had helped in my Krishna consciousness, and I try to offer heartfelt thanks. And then even those devotees in the past life, somebody would have did something to me. So even whoever unknown devotees, even in this lifetime or in the previous lifetimes, so whoever has helped me in any way to come in touch with Krishna consciousness, so I'm very grateful and thankful. So when I try to do that, so somehow or other, I think Krishna becomes pleased. And then, at least for some time, I'm able to hear the names of Lord, clearly. So this is a very, very nice, healthy process, actually, to cultivate the aspect of humility and gratitude, right? So, okay. So next is, in the line with the previous question, cry for Krishna is recommended as a natural goal of bhakti, but crying is also considered as a sahajiya. How to cultivate crying for Krishna in the right mood. So in the right mood, so what is the purpose for which we are supposed to cry? So the Vaishnava Acharya's bhajans, which are meant for the sadhakas, which are meant for the beginning stages of bhakti. So we try to sing this bhajan, Gauranga Karuna Karu, Dina Hina Jane, right? So this bhajan is a very, very nice bhajan, which is literally in the mood of crying. And what is the reason for which the devotee is crying? So Krishna, oh Gauranga, I am very, very fallen, And how am I fallen? What is the justification that I am fallen? I am not able to think of you. Even while chanting the names, I am not able to think of you. I'm thinking so many different things. So I'm really very fallen, right? So, and then please, kripa kari esho amar hridaya mandire. So, please come and reside in my heart, and please be manifest in the form of the chant, in the form of, may I be able to hear the names of the Lord clearly when I chant. So when a devotee prays like this, so this is all very good emotions that to have. So, but then if we have emotions like, oh, Krishna, you're so beautiful, and I like you very much, and things like that, and all this is all bogus. That's not going to happen in the beginning stages of in Krishna consciousness. At least a person should go through the levels of ashakti and ruchi. So that is when somewhat, not then also fully. So the problem of being a sahajiya, the problem of artificially imitating the bhavas of a higher stage, is that we will be deviated from the goal. We will not be able to attain the goal, desired goal that we want. So because there is two kinds of, in some other class we can actually discuss that, there's two kinds of reflections. So the sahajiya kind of reflections is quite dangerous, and it will actually, sometimes it may actually take us to hell also, because it's not very conducive for practicing Krishna consciousness, right? So that is why we should always check, any emotions are there, we should always check, whether with the scriptures. That's why we should read the scriptures nicely, and then we should see that is it the right thing I'm crying for, right? So that's very, very essential. Otherwise, emotions are always quite infusing us with energy. Emotions can help us to like really be enthused and things like that. But then the emotions also, we should be very careful that it is not fake emotions, or it is not some emotions that are that I'm not eligible for, right? So we should always consider that thing. So the Harinam Chintamani seminar that we had given, so we had covered a little bit of these aspects of the stages of devotion. And when we advance and when we get these emotions, it's quite nice, quite nice. And that is something to be aspired for, right? So with this, I pause. I hope that answers the question. And also, like, I have to go for another engagement. So we will conclude the session here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Fine.
What is doing?